My name is Elsa Kansa, and welcome to my vlog. Before we dive in, the Check My Work link will be put down below. Today, I will be reviewing important points about recycling and the overall importance of it. Behind me is my grandparents' backyard. It's beautiful, right? Now, can you imagine a world where not much of this kind of forest exists? Neither can I. However, we are currently on the track of completely destroying this. It's very sad to see this go, but there are some important things that you need to know. First things first, did you know that if we choose not to recycle, then all of our waste will eventually end up in landfills, and that can seep into our water supply, making us very sick. Other items that are recyclable or non-recyclable, unfortunately, such as tires, take so long to decay that they sit in landfills and create the perfect breeding ground for mosquitoes that may carry viruses, for example, the more recent Zika virus. If we begin to recycle more, we can avoid this. Not convinced? In 2012, studies showed that the U.S. had developed approximately 251 million tons of waste, whereas about 87 million tons, only approximately 35% of that actually ended up at a recycling plant. Disappointing, right? Of course, while we can stop this, we didn't. And for example, in 1980, we Americans only recycled about 15 million tons of waste, which, if you do the math, now we are actually producing 42 million more tons of waste. The amount of waste that ended up in the recycling bin in 2012 actually prevented the creation of about 168 million metric tons of carbon dioxide. This is the same ratio of taking about 33 million cars off the road for about a year.
Did you know that the majority of our solid waste is buried in landfills? What can we do about this? Can we really recycle our solid waste? Yes! In 2010, 29 million tons of it was converted into energy and recyclable byproducts by just one of the United States' approximately 87 waste-to-energy facilities. And at the end of 2015, the United States had 71 waste-to-energy plants that were generating electricity in 20 U.S. states with a total generating capacity of 2.3 gigawatts. How amazing is that? In fact, you might be asking yourself, how can we get our communities or even our local governments to get on board with this? Well, one of our biggest cities is already on track to become a zero waste city by 2020. It's San Francisco. What is zero waste? It means sending very little or even nothing to landfills, but recycling and reusing everything and protecting our environment in that process as well. I'm going to put a link to a YouTube video for you below so you can learn more and see how amazing and well thought out this is.
There is new research around the world that is enabling people to recycle more items. For example, in Sweden, scientists discovered new ways to recycle cotton clothing. This is important because cotton is approximately 1/3 of the world's fabric use. It risks becoming a scarce commodity due to the world's increasing population and the use of land for the production of food. This discovery is not limited to just recycling cotton, however. It can be used on all materials that contain a substance called cellulose. We all love computers, right? They make our life so much easier. Did you know that recycling can help increase your computer energy? Here are the numbers. Recycling a single glass bottle can give you about 25 minutes on your computer. Recycling one aluminum can save you enough energy to keep your television on for about 3 hours. Plastics. They make up so much of our world, it's difficult to imagine it without them. Here's the sad thing. Plastic bottles pollute the oceans. They get ground up into little pieces and consumed by marine life. This causes harmful and cancer-causing chemicals to be worked up the food chain and become concentrated in the seafood that we humans actually end up eating. Sounds to me like we're hurting ourselves. Did you know that recycling actually creates hundreds of jobs and career opportunities for people across the country? Cities benefit not just by reducing their usage for landfill expenses, but by receiving a solid hard income from reusing and recycling recyclable goods. Recycling can actually create new organizations, companies, and even firms for tasks such as transporting recyclable materials, turning these materials into their new uses and selling the new item, or actually even selling the recyclable materials. This next one is an important concept you need to understand. Have you ever heard of the three R's? If you haven't heard about this concept yet, that's alright. The three R's are so important that I could not possibly say how important it is to remember. What does three R's mean, you may ask? The three R's refers to reduce, reuse, and recycle. These keywords will help you and your family to recycle and help your community like a professional. While we may attempt to use an out of sight, out of mind thought process regarding recycling, believing that someone else can fix or worry about a problem is what actually helps lead to much larger waste management problems. I didn't know that dismissing an issue as someone else's could make those matters even worse. An example of this lies in the middle of almost every single one of our seas. And in the North Atlantic Ocean, there is something called the North Atlantic Garbage Patch. If a lot of floating garbage, actually mostly plastic, in an ocean doesn't sound that bad to you,
There are 5 gyres, like giant eddies, in our oceans. Each has accumulated a garbage patch. Now, here's some facts that will shock you and, hopefully, surely change your mind. The North Atlantic Garbage Patch is the size of the state of Rhode Island. In the Pacific Ocean, the North Pacific Gyre is referred to as the Great Garbage Patch. It is so large that it is larger than the state of Texas.
Another shocking fact about this island-sized problem is that if, for example, a whale, that has to breathe a bit of air of course, were to try to swim across the shortest length of this massive garbage patch, it could die because it couldn't come up for air. Why? Because this garbage patch is so thick that it takes a good bit of force to create a hole big enough to come up and breathe air. Unfortunately, animals do not know this. That sounds extremely scary, especially if a sea creature that needs to breathe air at some point were to accidentally swim under this island-sized trash bin. We can't just start treating our oceans and seas like a trash can. We must stop this abuse of our bodies of water. Here's your action item. It's very simple. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. It's not just recycling that will help, but composting old foods such as rotten fruits and veggies, grains, and eggshells, and other fruit or veggie peels will help too. Another very important thing to remember is that absolutely anyone can recycle, and you should encourage other people, such as your neighbors, to recycle and compost, as should you. Encouraging your kids to recycle and recycling for yourself will help create a difference, because if you recycle, your kids will look at you as a role model and they will do the same.
If you have any questions about what can be recycled or where certain items can be recycled, fortunately, most of us have access to the internet. You can Google recycling centers in the United States to find the best websites and locations near you. Here is just a handful of URLs you can go to find out more. There is so much you can do to make a difference.
Thank you so much for watching my vlog about recycling and its importance. Have a great day. Bye!